Hello again, everybody, and welcome back. This is Joe Larson, along with Chuck Schultz.
How we doing?
The 5 on Racing Show. Tonight, we're going to talk about Martinsville and the final drive for the playoffs, about the Whelen Modified Tour and what went on there this season, as well as a tribute to our fallen friend Wade Cole, and we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about some NASCAR news and some 505R news when we come back.
Inravio.com.
Welcome back, everybody. And I do mean welcome back. It's been
Welcome back. So here we are.
a long time, very long time. Martinsville, second to last race of the year for the top three series, the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Outdoor Camping World Series as well for the trucks. And for those of you who watched the race, it was a typical Martinsville race. A little bumping and grinding.
It's always a tough one, but
It's
that's
a tough one.
that's what people like to see, you know.
Yeah. It was one of those races. I mean, Chase Elliott dominated the race, taking down the win, leading 236 of the 500 laps, followed by Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano third, Brad Keselowski was fourth from the pole. Kurt Busch was fifth, Alex Bowman sixth, Eric Almirola seventh. We have Clint Boyer eighth, Kyle Busch ninth, and Matt DiBenedetto rounding out the top 10. Like I said, it was an awesome race, and typical Martinsville.
You know the worst part about these masks, you can't see the expressions on my faces that I'm
can't.
making when he says these things. You know, I go like this. Man, you can't see nothing.
Can't see nothing. And you know, we need to follow the rules, as they say.
So
you
it's
know?
like this. So yeah, there's some racing going on over here, you know.
Yeah, you know. I went in the back room there. I was gonna, you know, like my typical, do my hair and makeup and stuff, and you know, it was, it just didn't look the same. It didn't look the same. But yes, yeah. What are you gonna do? It is what it is, as they say. It is what it is. But yeah, that was the final race in the playoffs to determine who the final four are going to be going into Phoenix. And the final four going into Phoenix will be Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin. You got two Fords, a Chevy, and a Toyota. So it should be interesting. And that final race will be held at Phoenix, Arizona. And I often wondered why they wouldn't change it up, and why wouldn't that final race be at a venue a little more, I don't want to say popular, because you know Phoenix is a popular racetrack, but
Yeah.
population-wise, I would have that race at a Daytona.
I'm sure that they got their reasons, but
Charlotte.
you know, I would think that they got their reasons. But I got to say, you know, everything that we're going through here, kudos to all of these tracks, NASCAR, everybody who you know got this all put together and got something going to you know make something happen with the season that was out there. I mean, boy, you can't really have your back up against the wall much more than what we already have, right?
Wow.
And it was amazing that they were able to make something happen and at least try to take care of the fans and, you know, in some way, and try to take care of the advertisers and the sponsors and the racers that needed to take care of their advertisers and keep their people, you know, employed and keep the business going. And that's a hard thing to make happen, and
It is.
logistically. And I'll tell you what, kudos. I mean, how could you not say, you know, all right, they did what they could do. You know, I mean, you take the lemons and you make some lemonade, but it was
without a doubt.
that was definitely a tough thing. You know,
It was, and that's one of the hard parts with when they tried to salvage the season, and I think NASCAR did a real good job with with salvaging the season. And they got a good portion of the races in. I think it was unique having that at Pocono, a double header, which was never done before. However, it worked out so well. It's in the 2021 schedule, and which is going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. And, we'll see.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt something has to happen.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to get better for next year or not, but everybody's got to keep moving on.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And it is what it is, and it's one of the reasons why we're back. I mean, honestly, we were looking at it, and we're looking at some of the numbers and all the rest of these things, and I got to say, thank you to everybody who watches us. These numbers are pretty high.
Yeah.
And I was actually approached by some advertisers because the numbers were high. And that's one of the reasons why we're back. And, we've got a new sponsor, new advertiser with us, already for this show, and we'll have more next shows as well. But Green Team LI, and they're basically, the Green Team Long Island. They're a home energy assessment company, and what they do is they come in and they check out your house. They're also a full service contractor, so they do everything: insulation and HVAC and air sealing and all of that, the hot water, the solar, the windows, all of that. But they'll come in, and they did it for my house. And the assessment is free. The cost is completely covered by PSEG Long Island, so it doesn't cost you anything. It's about a half hour. And you make the appointment, they come in, they check it out. And this is great if you want to save some money, especially with the heating and whatnot costs over the winter. Everybody seems to take quite a hit. And you know what? There's a lot of race car drivers out there could use a couple of sets of extra tires, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no doubt you could use a couple set of tires. So they won the Home Improvement Performance Energy Star Contractor of the Year Award for 2020 with national recognition. So these guys will come in, they'll check it out, and if they can find something that will help you, that the government is going to give you a rebate for, or PSEG is going to give you a rebate for, and help you cover this, if not all of it, they're going to tell you that. And you know what? If they come in and they don't find anything,
they'll tell you that too.
the guy's going to throw his hands in the air, and he's going to say he didn't find nothing. Mm-hmm. And the guy found a little something on my house, and he's like, listen, you can go ahead and do this, but it's not worth it.
Right.
He's very honest people.
Yeah.
He said, listen, that's the only thing you could save money on is if you change out your heating unit and your air conditioning unit. He goes, but they're too new, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
When they break, then you worry about that.
Yep.
But they're very square shooters. They're not looking to come in and just sell you something for nothing. And like I said, it takes 30 minutes. And they're going to pop the link up into the chat here, so you can just click on it and go there. It's the extension is 505 on when you go there, and of course that helps us out when you go there and just get to sign up for the energy audit. Again, like I said, it's free, but if it could save you thousands of dollars and it costs you nothing, why not?
Hey, I'll tell you what, and this is the way. It's the wave of the future. There's going green stuff, and the solar, and getting away from the fossil fuels, and in the little chat here, we provided the direct link to them, www.greenteenny.com/505on. So, if you go check them out, tell them you heard about it from us.
Yeah.
And,
if you click on that link, we're going to get credit for it anyway. But,
exactly.
If you want their phone number as well, we'll pop that up in the chat too.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But when you look at so a sponsor like that, and even NASCAR is trying to go green, and they're trying to develop an electric race car at the R&D Center for future usage in the series. And I'll tell you what, I remember in the early 70s when during the fuel shortages, and President Richard Nixon went to Bill France Jr. and said, listen, we're in an energy crisis, and you guys got to do something here to show that you're not just wasting gas driving 500 miles. Now, the fuel that race cars use and passenger cars use and trucks are not the same, but they did shorten the races then. in the early 70s by 10%. So the Daytona 500 was the Daytona 450 because they did 450 miles instead of their 500. But hey, when you
Save a couple of bucks. You remember back in the day, you had the odd and evens, and you used to have to wait in line.
Yeah, definitely.
What a deal, huh?
It was, and I'll tell you what, you got to go this way. You got to go this route. So it's all good. But anyway, the Cup Series, they will, as all the series this week, they will head to Phoenix for the final, and it'll be basically how they finish. Logano, Elliott, Keselowski, and Hamlin, how they finish will determine their points in it. So they could all finish in the bottom of the pack, but who's ever the highest of the bottom of the pack will be declared the NASCAR Cup champion for 2020. The Xfinity Series was there as well. Harrison Burton took down the win there. Justin Allgaier was second. Noah Gragson was third. Jeb Burton was fourth, followed by Ross Chastain. Riley Herbst was sixth. Chase Briscoe seventh. Michael Annett eighth. Brandon Jones ninth. And Austin Cindric rounded out the top 10, and he was the pole sitter. The playoff finalists in that series is Briscoe, Amarola, Justin Haley, and Austin Cindric. And in that series, we have 2 Chevys and 2 Fords going for the championship. And again, they will also be heading to Phoenix this upcoming weekend for their final, and the same deal. Whoever finished the highest of those 4 will be the Xfinity champion for 2020. The Gander RV and Outdoor Truck Series was also at Phoenix, at Martinsville, excuse me. Grant Enfinger was the winner there, followed by Ben Rhodes with Zane Smith third. Christian X was fourth. Matt Crafton was fifth, followed by Stewie Friesen was sixth. Danny Bond seventh. Sheldon Creed was eighth from the pole. Austin Wayne Self was ninth, and Derek Kraus rounded out the top 10 there. And their playoff finalists will be Creed, Enfinger, Brett Moffitt, and Smith going for the championship, when they have 3 Chevys and a Ford going after that prize. And I'll tell you what, a lot of talk in social media about the way all this playoff stuff works, and you have a situation with a 4-car in the Cup Series did not make the playoffs, but he was the best driver all season long with 8 wins, and he just missed out by 2 points. People are kind of up in arms with that, and here's the best driver in the series could not get into the playoffs, and the same kind of talk and discussion was had the first or second year of this playoff stuff, where they had Jeff Gordon did not make it.
Yeah, same deal.
NASCAR on Tuesday, after a meeting, determined that Jeff Gordon could be in because Rick Hendrick supposedly went and said, hey, Jeff Gordon's not in, we're not in.
What's going on?
Just like the old provisional rule that came out in the 70s. Richard Petty did not qualify for the Daytona 500. And he went into Mr. Bill France Jr. and said, this will be the first 500 there ain't a Petty in. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they came up with a provisional. So it's funny how this stuff goes.
Well, there's, I don't know what the answer would be. I mean, there's, so many different ways you can look at this, and there's always going to be some kind of a thing that's going to happen. You're going to be like, what?
Right.
And NASCAR's probably shaking their head too, going, that shouldn't have happened. But,
And that's the thing. The rules get changed as they go sometimes, and that's just not the way that you should be doing these things, in my opinion anyway. The rules are the rules, and everybody has to follow the same rules. And when that doesn't happen...
You missed by that much.
Yeah, I know a guy that missed by that much.
A lot.
Yeah. That's all it takes sometimes. It's just
That's really all it takes.
A little bit of missing. Anyway, we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and a little tribute to a tour regular, NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour regular, who lost his life working on his race car. And we have a little something about him and for him when we come back.
Hey,
we're
what's
set
oh,
up.
I said was gonna say what's up for some reason. Hey, we're set it up, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hi there, this is Buddy from Less Than Jake, and you are listening to Inravio TV. You're probably watching it too.
You keep your car tuned up and well maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now.
Welcome back
Yes.
to the show.
To the show, as they say.
And hey, you saw that Green Team NY, so don't forget to click on that link and go there. If you have a house, you want to save some money, it's really the smartest thing to do.
Yes, it is. It is.
And it's free.
And it's free. And free is good.
Free is good.
That's free is good. Anyway, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, after missing and having multiple events canceled in the beginning of the season due to the COVID situation, finally was able to put together a schedule. They ended up getting 9 races in out of, I believe, the 15 that were originally scheduled. And it was a tough season for the NASCAR Whelen Modified teams. But when it was all said and done, Justin Bonsignor, with 3 wins in 2020, was the champion, followed by John McKennedy, who didn't have any wins, but he was second in the points, very consistent. Doug Colby, who was battling Justin Bonsignor up to the last event practically, was third in the points with a win, followed by Craig Lutz, a Long Islander, who was fourth in the points with 2 wins. Ronnie Silk had 2 wins in 5th place. Matt Swanson was 6th in the points, followed by Long Islander Dave Sapienza. Kevin Carr was 8th in the points. Tyler Ripkema was 9th in the points, followed by Anthony Nocella, rounding out the top 10. 52 drivers competed in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in 2020, but only 15 started all 9 races. Justin Bonsignor driving the 51 car owned by Ken Massa, with primary sponsorship of M3 Technology, was a champion again. His average finish in 2020 was 2.7. I'm thinking he's running up front.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. He was in the top 5 in all 9 events in 2020. Justin Bonsignor has been driving for Kenny Massa and the M3 Technology team pretty much all his Whelen Modified Tour career.
I'm going to say that they're hooked up.
Yeah, and I remember being at a go-karting event, and Justin's dad, Tom, said, there's a guy that's been talking to us about driving his car. Do you have time to talk to him? Now, I'm always promoting the racetracks. And sure, absolutely. And in talking to him, I said, listen, it's going to take a boatload of money. He says, I got it. It's going to take a lot of dedication. I'm willing. Going to have a good crew. We'll get one. There was nothing I said to this man that he came back with anything negative. It was like, all right, we'll do it. And I know in the beginning it was tough for them. trying to get a crew chief that kind of melded with everybody. Once they finally got that on board, winning became easy for them. So I congratulate the team. I know Justin and his family on a personal level. I also know Ken Massa on a personal level as well. Back though, when my daughter was racing and Brian Cicello were racing for me, M3 Technologies, their logo was on my race car. So it's funny how this family of racing just, you kind of never get away from the people, even though you're not at their house breaking bread every weekend. But you have these things, so it's all good. Anyway, and speaking of NASCAR Whelen Modified,
it's definitely, it's very interesting the way that it is. It's the race car drivers are everywhere.
Everywhere.
I get people that come up to me all over the place, and it's like, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just, wow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, although their schedule has not been announced, racetracks that have signed on, so to speak, have come public. There's two big ones. Martinsville, Virginia, will have the NASCAR Whelen Modified there on April 8th, a night race, in conjunction with a Cup weekend. So that's good for them. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour has not been in Martinsville since 2010, and that was a weekend that I actually drove the pace car for that event. And I'll tell you what, we were there at like 6 in the morning. It was 90 degrees in the morning. It reached just under 100. It was hot, and that was my time to sit in the pace car with the AC flowing, and I paced the field, had a good time. I had Ted Christopher give me a little tap from behind because he could.
Because he was in the lead?
Yeah, and so there was a long stretch of green, and there I am in the pace car.
Sleeping.
And of course, somebody had pictures of it, but I'm not going to share those. And next thing I hear on the radio, all right, Joe, never mind, you can get him next time. The yellow head come out, and the whole field just passed me by. I missed it. I was sleeping.
That happens.
Yeah, when it's 95 degrees out all day long, and then you're finally just sitting in. It's like watching a race from home.
Or the other way. When it's cold out and you're sitting in the race car at Flemington waiting to go out for time trials with the car running, and you got, 100 cars in front of you for the Race of Champions, and the next thing you know, you're being woken up and there's nothing but empty track in front of you. And you were out as like a light. You were just,
It's your turn to go.
Oh, yeah, and I was like, the slowest timing you could possibly imagine.
I did that on purpose. Yeah, but
Well, I didn't do it on purpose.
No.
But I just was sitting there with holding onto the wheel. I fell asleep.
And also Richmond, Virginia, Speedway there, is going to host the Modifieds again for the first time since 2002. The Modifieds. The Modifieds put on a good show then. I got to tell you, that was probably, in my opinion, one of the best places to have a modified race. The track is a perfect size, and it's a good place to have a show. A good place to have a show. So none of the other parts of the schedule have been announced. I did hear through the racetrack grapevine there will be no Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
Really?
And Stafford has been a mainstay since 1985 on the tour, hosting 4 to 6 races a year.
Wow.
Not coming back. And word in the street is neither is Thompson Motorsports Park. And ever since Don Honig, who had that track forever, and the track was given to his grandchildren to run and operate, they've made it a road course primarily, and they're more about club racing. They're not even going to have NASCAR in as a sanctioning body.
Really?
And we'll have 5 oval track races, and from what I saw on their preliminary schedule, I did not see the Whelen Modified Tour. So that's 8 races right there that will be lost, that have to find other venues. So
We'll have to figure it out.
yeah.
Well, it's still early in the game here,
It
especially
is.
with everything that's going on. I don't think everybody fleshed it out 100%.
And from what I saw of the Stafford schedule, there's modified events from the other modified series, like the Tri-Track series and whatnot, but nothing with the modified tour. And Thompson will have a modified race. They will bring back the old Thompson 300, a 300 lapper,
Okay.
but not the Whelen Modified Tour. That'd be part of the Tri-Track series. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Changes are coming the way, so to speak. So to speak. So, like I said, the schedules have not been released, and they'll be out according to NASCAR race director, or series director, I should say, Jerry Wilson. The schedule will be out shortly. It usually came out right after Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah, everything's happening a little bit later
It's
now
all
with everything
happening
that's
fast.
going on, so it's
All happening fast.
everybody's trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
So,
Now, speaking of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, I say we, because I've been a part of that series since 2002 up until 2013, and friends of mine still race and compete on that. This past March, we lost a competitor, Wade Cole. Wade was a mainstay of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Wade oftentimes fielded 2, if not 3 cars to help the series when the car counts were low. And we have there's some picture of Wade. The 33 and the 38 were Wade Cole cars. And he always brought 2 cars, and there's the 33. Wade was the type of guy, when everybody was getting these big fancy haulers and big giant double stackers, there's a picture of Wade's ramp truck that he took everywhere. I can remember at Bristol, modifieds are there, the camera's panning. It was a televised race. Everybody's there with big haulers. And there's Wade's ramp truck in the middle. And like, the guy drove from Riverton, there it is.
They're pretty popular though.
All the way from Riverton, Connecticut to Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee, in his ramp truck. And he had stuff tied to the Nerf bars. He had parts on the roof, on the back deck, everywhere. Because, there's no like parts guy at Bristol Motor Speedway. So you break something, you got to fix it. There's a picture of him with one of the crew members, Dana, and Dana and I became good buddies. Because when I left NASCAR, these guys, they offered me a ride. They offered me, Wade had like 4 cars in his shop up in Riverton, Connecticut. And he offered me one. And yeah, it's yours, take it. And the only problem was that NASCAR said I couldn't drive it, and they had all kinds of excuses. And whatever I did, what they told me to do, all right, Joe, you got to do this. So I did it. All right, now you got to do this. And they wouldn't approve me to race open wheel, and there's my name on the hood. I was part of the crew. I was the jack man when I couldn't race for Wade. I was his spotter at Bristol and at Riverhead. And Wade was a hands-on guy. He got his hands dirty. He worked on his cars, and it was just amazing what he did. And a lot of people said he didn't have the prettiest looking cars. And I can remember him showing up at a racetrack, and he brought 2 cars. They needed a driver. So the first driver that walked over to see about driving, I said, I don't know. Because it wasn't fancy, it wasn't all chromed up, it wasn't, didn't have that big expensive paint job. He judged the book for the cover and he walked away. And there's me as an official there with working a pit road. I'm not even sure what track that is. But so a local from that track walked over to the car and said, I'll run it. Guy had like a top 5. So,
He knew the track.
Exactly, and never judge a book by its cover.
You never know.
But Wade was one of the original modified tour drivers when the tour started in 1985. Wade had a couple of starts that season. There's me and Wade, that's at Bristol. He participated in 371 events. Although he had no wins, no top 5s, he had 7 top 10s. And one year, I believe it was like 5 years ago or 6 years ago, he finished 11th in the points which was, he was just consistent. There's the old Ram truck again.
Everybody knew his name, though.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knew his name.
He started racing in 1973 at Monadnock Speedway in New Hampshire. He also raced at and ran at Riverside Park in Massachusetts, Thompson, Connecticut, and Claremont, New Hampshire before becoming a tour driver. Wade, like I said, was he worked on his cars, and that's I want to thank my daughter Kerry for that shot that she took at Riverhead here a couple of years ago. In fact, I believe that was Wade's last tour race here on Long Island. But he was one of those guys that just hands on that. And that picture, I'm going to tell you about that picture. He was the first driver to get to Bristol that day. And they let him in, they let him park, and he drove, I don't know how many hours to get there. Parked it, got out his chair, and took a nap. And that has got to be one of my favorite pictures of Wade. But he was one of those guys that he helped people. I never saw him upset, whether he got a raw deal from an official only because of a misunderstanding, or got in a wreck that wasn't his fault, it was just got caught up, or wrecks that he might have misjudged. But I never saw him get upset. I never saw him go yelling at somebody. And when somebody came over yelling at this, is what he did. He just looked at him and did this. It was an accident. Never heard him raise his voice. He was always fun to be around. He made you feel like a part of the family, and it was known as the Wade Cole family of racing. And some of the guys that Jake Morose, who was a tour racer, started having situations where his racing days were over. All he did was hang up his helmet, and he was a crew guy. Rick Rodenbaum, they go back to elementary school, has been his spotter for close to 45 years. It was just a close-knit group of people. And,
I never met him personally, but I've only heard good things about him.
They gave him an award one year because of his actions, not on the racetrack, but in the garage area and for promoting the series. And like I said, he'd bring 2 cars, 3 cars sometimes, put people in them because there were periods where the tour was having trouble filling the fields. And Wade did his best to make that happen. Give a local guy a ride, whether it be Thompson, Riverhead, Stafford. They'd go through the procedures and to make it happen to get them, racing because they raced open wheel. And that's what he did. And he worked by himself. He never really asked for help. And if you've ever been to his house, he lives on this big hill overlooking a river. Thus the name of his town, Brewerton, Connecticut. And, but his shop was at the base of the driveway. And I can remember the first time I went to his shop when it was determined I was going to drive for him and, working on the cars. And I'm saying to myself, I know there's 2 more cars. Where are they? And we're in the barn/shop, and he says, they're upstairs. So we go up the stairs, and sure enough, there's 2 cars upstairs. And I'm like, there's no lift. Wait. How do you get the cars up here?
He's got a hill he drives them up on.
You go to the back of the shop, the second floor was ground level.
Right.
And that just drove him in. He just drove him in. And his house is just up the driveway where he lived. And unfortunately, one night he was in there working by himself, which he'd come home from work, changed, have dinner, whatever. So I was like, I'm going down to race shop. It was like every day. And then one night he went down there and he didn't come back. And he would usually call his wife while he was down there and, I'm going to come up and have a little snack. I'm going to come up and get a drink of water. And that was his way of checking on her. because his wife was had some health issues, and one night he didn't do that, and she kept calling. She called the shop phone, the cell phone, no answer, and finally she called one of the crew members, who did not live close, but went there, and there he was. And as they say, when it's your time to go, you want to be doing something you love.
I think he was doing that.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Anyway, Wade, we're going to miss you. You're a good guy. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Remington.
I'm Emerson.
And I'm Sebastian.
We're Palais Royale, and you're watching Inravio TV.
There we go.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Les Jake, and if Inravio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Hi, this is Mike Jarecki from My Race News, and you're watching the Inravio TV network.
Hey guys, this is Jibs from Ocean's 8, Alaska, and you're watching Inravio TV network.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome.
So, being as we had those numbers up there for the advertising, I wanted to talk about this because it was actually brought to my attention. With everything that's going on, we're not paying attention to every little thing that happens. But it was brought to my attention that this show that we do here, is reaching in all the different avenues over 100,000 people a month.
Yeah.
And 86% are men, 14% are women, and there's a bump at 55 to 64. So when you do all of these things, you realize that, hey, that's a pretty good demographic right there.
Absolutely.
So it was brought to me, actually, somebody who wanted to advertise brought it to my attention and said, hey, did you notice that? And we want to be on the show. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So that being said, one of the things we want to do, because we're coming into kind of the off season here, is we want to give some race teams some time to talk about their race team, what they did last year, what they got coming up this year, their sponsors that they had, and give their sponsors some exposure, which I'm sure their sponsors would like to be in front of 100,000 pairs of eyes. So if you're a driver or a team owner or a crew chief, and you've got the blessing of the team to do an interview. Of course, we're not doing in-studio stuff because we're social distancing, but a Zoom interview. We're giving you a 10-minute interview to be on the show. And we're going to have one interview a week, so we're not going to have a lot. So first come, first served basis. But if you message me, you know, on Facebook, give us a message there and let us know you want to be on the show and you want to do an interview. We'll put you up there. You know, and we'll give you the video afterwards. We'll give you the snippet of the video so you can show it to the sponsor, send it to them, put it on your Facebook page, share it around. Again, more exposure for your sponsor and gives you a little more cred that you were actually on a show, you got an interview.
And you know, when you look at, when you say 100,000 views a month, you know, there's some racetracks and race teams, they have the whole side of their car blazing with Acme Corporation for 2,000 people a week.
Right, which is not 100,000 people total.
Exactly. Or, you know, it's, you know, how many people are going to see your car as it's going down the highway, you know, whether you're I-95 or you know, the Long Island Expressway.
Exactly.
You know, you're blowing by them. Well, actually, they're blowing by you because you're going the speed limit as a race car driver. But, you know, you're doing 55 miles an hour. And the guy who's doing 70 with his family in the car, he's headed to the Hamptons on Long Island, or he's headed up to the mountains in Connecticut, whatever.
They're not looking at the sponsors. They're looking at the race. Oh, look, a car.
Yeah, oh, there's a car.
And they drive in your blind spot to see the car.
Yeah.
How many times that happens? So now on the other end of the coin, if you're a track or you're a track promoter, you know, give us a call. You know, hit us with a message as well. You know, we can put together some sort of a deal as well there. But hey, if you've got a track and you've got 2,000 people showing up, you're still not getting 100,000 people in a season.
Right.
You know, and if you got Pepsi or Dr. Pepper or whoever it may be,
Coca-Cola.
Frito-Lay's, whoever it is, and you want to get more exposure for that sponsor, well, and it's an option as well too. So, yeah. So first come, first serve. Anybody who wants to, you know, send us a message. 505 on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's up there on the screen.
It's there, and you know, reach out to us. You can get us both on social media. And I'll tell you what, you know, back in my race days when I was racing, my daughter was racing me, and Joseph Sell's brother Brian was racing for me, and however, there's a lot of guys that race for me. You know, Terry Styles raced for me, Randy Johnson raced for me. Oh,
There's a lot of races.
Tommy Rogers hopped into my car a couple of times. But you know, you look back then, and you know, I didn't have traditional sponsors on my race cars. I did not have traditional sponsors, and the way I did that, I mean, I gotta thank my job. I worked at UPS as a sales manager, marketing guy, and they taught me a lot. And it's about, you know, ROI, return on investment of that sponsorship dollar. And if you could show a sponsor, hey, listen, if you give me X, I could turn that X into X times 2 or
Times 10.
10 or whatever. And like I said, I had non-traditional sponsors, big brothers, big sisters. What did they gain by sponsoring a race car? They gained a lot because they got involved with my daughter's high school. We went to appearances. We got people to become big brothers, to become big sisters. And that return for them, you couldn't measure. I had a medical office. Who would have thought a medical office would?
Oh, how many times? We both had the same doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike at the time, and then Dr. Chiapetta after that. And my deal with them was, if they put on the slip, when they fill out the form, how did you hear about this? If they put racing, the racetrack, Joe, whatever, I got a small percentage of that, a percent or two at the end of the season. But that helped for next year. Those are the things you do. Sponsors, you know, a lot of guys, and I know when I first started racing, my buddy had a little store, I put him on the car. It was a favor. Did somebody go to a store and buy something because it was on my race car? Probably not. But as I learned how to market it and play with it, you yourself, you had one of the biggest radio stations, if not the biggest one, on Long Island.
I had 3 of the biggest ones. I had them year after year because I had them fighting against each other to get on the car.
Yeah.
And I would show up and people were upset. I've been trying to get them on my car for 20 years.
Yeah. It's all
And
how
you know what?
present
Not
it.
for nothing, but it was a cash deal.
Yeah.
There was no trade involved in that. There was a cash deal.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I mean, the last year that we raced, we bought 60 some odd tires And I think after I paid for that and my rent for the shop and everything else, I still came out with a couple $1,000s. And I think we crashed twice.
Yeah, and
And we had to fix the car.
I felt like I was a residual
Good crash,
sponsor.
not a little,
Oh yeah, I was a residual recipient of your sponsors because you aren't such a tire deal. You were taking your tires off just about every week, if not.
Yeah, I was putting
Twice in a night.
I was putting the set on every night.
And because we had a figure 8 car, so you're making lefts and rights. You're not just tearing up right sides. You get left. So he was giving us left side tires that were brand new. But that's what it is. And when I had the big brothers, big sisters, I was in a similar situation with tires, and I helped a couple of guys. That, hey, listen, we only have 40 laps on these tires, and those guys would take, here you go, take them, because I didn't pay for them, my sponsor did, so I wasn't charging people for that stuff. So, I call it the domino effect.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen instantly. It doesn't happen overnight. But it's that one of those things that you don't realize. We don't realize how many people are watching and how many people we touch, and then we go to a place that's out of the state, that's very far out of the state, and they know the show.
Yeah.
Or we contact somebody and they're like, they know the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a kid who just started racing, and he messaged me yesterday. I don't know if he's watching now, but he messaged me, and he's actually got to do his homework. That's how young he is. He started racing.
Yeah.
He's got to do his homework. He's like, I don't know if I'll be able to watch at 7 because I got to do my homework.
Mm-hmm.
But he started racing, and he says, I asked my father and his friends, because I guess they race too. He goes, they heard of the show. They know you.
There was a few years back, and somebody mentioned it before, the black mask, black shirt, where's my black hat, for those who remember the black hat days.
That's a long
when I was
time
the
ago.
Bad guy. I went to Mountain Speedway in Pennsylvania, went with a bunch of friends, the late WJ and some people, and I'm sitting there all bundled up. It was October, it was cold, and I had my black hat. And somebody comes up to me and says, are you the guy from that show, 5 Off, 5 On? I said, yeah. And he walked away. I was like, oh, okay. Next thing I know, the announcer, sitting in the front stretch behind the flag stand from the 5 Off, 5 On racing show, and then they're announcing me, and I'm like, hey, how you doing?
And you had to stand up and take a wave.
Yeah, and at Orange County Fair Speedway, I had cop lunch there. All I had to do was say I'm on my way.
Did you have hot dogs over there?
No, they fed me good at Orange County Fair. They fed me good. And I'd go up to the announcer's booth, and I would announce the races with them. And my money was no good, and because of the show. Who would have thought up in Middletown, New York, they heard of the show? Or down in Caraway Speedway, North Carolina, they heard of the show.
It's pretty far-reaching, and like I said, there's a number for you. 54% are from New York.
Yeah.
But the other 46% are from all around the country.
Everywhere else.
So there's a good chunk of people, and honestly, again, not patting ourselves on the back, but I really never thought of it until this sponsor brought it up. But I'm looking at some of the other numbers of some of these other online racing shows, even some of the bigger ones, and there's nothing.
No.
I mean, I likened it to because I thought it was interesting that during this whole pandemic thing, we were watching Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. They're on right after the Country Music Awards. They were on whatever channel it was on TV, but they were also streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah.
They had 5,000 people watching.
5,000 people. Yeah. And they're here.
Yeah, and they're here, and we've got 4 times them every week.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
How does that work out? Who really wants to sit here and listen to this stuff?
Yeah.
From us.
From us. 2 guys that used to race.
Thank you. Used to coulds. So, thank you very much for you guys showing up. We appreciate all that.
We do appreciate that, and, it's like our one big happy family.
I mean, I could play guitar, but I don't think you could sing like Trisha Yearwood.
No.
So I
I
think
can play the drums,
we're out.
though.
I think we're, but somebody's got to sing. So I guess we're out.
Yeah. Oh, well. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up with some of the stuff that's going on in the NASCAR, and also a little brief talk about what I did this past summer when we come back.
You keep your car tuned up and well maintained, right? Why? Because preparation and maintenance keeps your investment running perfectly. But are you doing the same for your largest investment, your home? Right now, homeowners can take advantage of a free home energy assessment sponsored by PSEG Long Island. Our experts will check your home for energy waste and help you get utility and state rebates and incentives, making your home healthier, more valuable, and more efficient, saving you money. This limited time offer won't last, so get to greenteamny.com/5off5on and sign up for your free home energy assessment now. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Mark Whelen. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you're punching the. But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
What's up, guys? This is Assuming We Survive, and you're watching Inravio TV Network.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
Welcome back to the show. So just wanted to say again, Green Team Long Island. So if you go to that link that they put up in the chat there, if you have a home, it's a free home assessment. And like I said, they came in, they checked us out. It was a half hour, nice people. They were all masked up. It's all socially, safe. They come in, they check you out just to see what you got, especially with the heating season that's coming up. One of the things we want to make sure of is that we're saving money on our houses, especially. That's a big nut.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people are out there chopping wood and pellet stoves and all the rest of this? If they can come in for free because they're getting paid by PSEG, they come in for free, they look at your house, they make some suggestions, and they get your rebates for the stuff that you need. Sometimes the stuff is free as well, that they can get you. And, they put that stuff in there. They can even set you up with people. They have contractors that do the work. They do the work themselves. And they get you, they set you up, especially with insulation and the HVAC and the air sealing and things like that. If they can save you some money and you get 3 or 4 sets of tires out of it, hey, that's a good thing, right?
Awesome thing.
I'm looking to save some money all the time and at every turn, because you know what? Does the prices of anything ever go down?
No.
I mean, whose electric bill didn't go up? Everybody's did. So who wants to save money? Everybody, right? So give them a call. Hit that link there. Just go there and sign up. They'll contact you, and they'll come, when it's good for you. You don't have to, we're going to come from between 9 and 3. They'll make an appointment. They'll come. They'll, they'll check you out, whatever's good for you. Half hour. What are we talking about? So that's a good thing. The other thing, too, is Village Music Shop. Been a long-time sponsor of the show. Not only are they doing lessons in person while we're not on lockdown here in New York, but if you're not from New York, one of those 46% of the people that are watching us, you want to take lessons, you can go and take lessons online. So yeah, it's very simple to do that. It's 1-800-HEY-DUDE. You can give them a call, or you can message them. They'll put the link up in the chat as well for Village Music's Facebook page, and you can click on them and message them as well. Yeah. They do online lessons for all instruments, band instruments, school band instruments, and violins, violas, the orchestra, as well as guitar and drums and things like that. They do them online. The other thing that they have too, because they rolled out this new online university, you could take a recording class online. So you can have 15 hours worth of recording class on how to record and how to make music and how to mix it right online.
Yeah.
It's an awesome thing. You know, there's a lot of race car drivers, and I know this because I've seen them come in and buy instruments, and there's a lot of race car drivers that are musically inclined. And you know, I don't want to say this because I know, you know, I'm a musician as well, but when you drive in the car and you're hitting your marks and you're hitting the pedals, you know, there's a song that comes to your head, whatever song it may be, but it's all about timing. And if you're musically inclined and you can keep that rhythm, you've heard these things before, right? So if you can hit these marks and keep that rhythm, boy, I tell you what, all that stuff is going to happen.
Without a doubt.
I mean, not, you know, you'll be playing Freebird while you're driving, but, you know, it could, you know, it's a song that's in your head and you're hitting those marks and you're keeping that rhythm and that timing, you know what I mean? It's an important thing.
Yeah. I know before we went off in March, we were talking about I was going to drive a vintage modified in Live R's, Long Island Vintage Auto Racing Series, and I did, and I had a very successful season. I had 3 seconds, I had a win, I had a 5th, and 20 cars showed up at the Stafford Motor Speedway, most of which were tour-type modifieds that ran New Smyrna and whatnot, a top 10 on a lead lap as well. I had a blast with that, and I drove the Frenchie's Auto number 6 that was also driven by a host of drivers over the years that were very successful. And in fact, it was the last modified that Maynard Troyer drove. So I had a good time and a lot of fun. And I know 22 figure eight, you're not going to believe this. Not one scratch, not one, the whole season was put on the car by me or any other competitor while I was racing it.
While he was, you see, that's the thing, while he was racing it. He didn't say that he had an accident in the pits.
That is true, Beto. But any damage that was to the car was done by my car owner. But I had a good time and had a lot of fun.
And who didn't have that in the poll?
Yeah. Right? But we also drove in the New England Auto Racing Series, ACOT up in upstate New York, so we had a good time. But anyway, before we go real quick, some NASCAR news. Kyle Larson will be back in 2021, signing with Hendrick Motorsports to drive the 5 car. So that'll be interesting. He went through all his diversity and lessons and classes and counseling, so he'll be back, and that's good. And Darryl Bubba Wallace will be leaving Richard Petty Motorsports to move to a team owned by Denny Hamlin and NBA legend Michael Jordan. And me driving car number 23. The team name is 2312, and that should be interesting. A good shot for everybody there. And Eric Jones will then fill the seat vacated in the Richard Petty Motorsports number 43, and he will be driving that. He was signed to a multi-year deal at RPM. So next week we're going to have all the silly season changes, because it'll be all official, because Phoenix will be done and announcements can be made. But right now most of these teams are on the contract, and you just can't be talking about that. But anyway.
One last thing before we go, Village Music, playing instruments is a great way to be safe and have fun, especially, during the winter months as well as the summer months. But
absolutely,
it's a great way to do something where you social distance and you can have fun. And so think about that. Give them a call.
All right. I want to thank everybody for taking time out and watching and listening tonight. And for those who pick it up during the week on demand, welcome and thank you. And we're back on a roll. We're looking to reach 500 shows.
500 already.
Yeah, I don't know how close.
In what, 9 short years?
Yeah, 9 short years.
How many years has it been?
It's 9.
Is it 9 years?
Yeah. We lost 8 months due to
9 years, 500 shows.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go figure. Well, thank you guys for watching, because we can't do it without you. Unbelievable. I just, those numbers, I was like blown away.
Yes.
blown away by looking at those numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Really got me.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. We are back. And barring another lockdown,
Hey, stay safe. Stay safe, be smart. Do the
social
right
distance,
thing.
mask, it's all
That's
good.
it.
Have a good week, everybody. And wherever your endeavors bring you, please be safe. Good night, everybody.